All right, so here we are with Robert and Harry, chef and owner of Sea Restaurant in Vancouver. But their brand new book, Seafood, which is stunning.
It's our first book. We're pretty proud of it.
Oh, and I hear there's more to come, but we'll get to that later. But you used to live in Toronto, now you're in BC.
Yeah.
Local, and you're very, very big supporters of local and Seafood Conservancy and all that sort of thing. Did you find the transition from here to Vancouver like a delight for a food, like for a chef? Was it extraordinary?
You would think it was, but actually it wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, like I spent 10 years in Toronto, and towards the last couple of years I had an opportunity to work with people like Jamie Kennedy, and he really taught me how to get to the earth, to understand why things can potentially taste so good. If you have a really good carrot, you can make a wonderful carrot soup, and I mean that was the secret of his success in his cuisine, and I took that to Vancouver. Obviously, as a chef in Vancouver, it's evolved over, I've been there 15 years or so. Every year we get more and more suppliers, and today it is much easier to source locally than it was 15 or 20 years ago. But
you've been at the vanguard of that. You and Harry have really done a lot of that, haven't you?
Yeah, Rain City Grill was Harry's first restaurant, and it definitely defined Pacific Northwest cuisine, and now defines the 100-mile menu, defines what regional, local, fresh, seasonal is about.
It defines Vancouver.
Yeah.
Because when you were saying about the earth though too, and you must get this, I mean for wine we always talk about terroir.
Yes.
And now I think you can apply that to the food too.
You definitely can, without a doubt.
You must find out.
You can apply that to salmon, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, different. The same fish. A sockeye from the Fraser is going to taste differently than a sockeye from the Skeena, even though it's genetically the same fish. The fat content of a sockeye, an Adams River sockeye, is far different than a sockeye in the Nass River.
Why is that? Just the
length, genetically, the length of time they have to spend in the river to get back to their breeding ground will determine the fat content. So, I mean, all these things we didn't know a few years ago. The people in the know kept it a secret. They didn't want us to know. But now that, as chefs, we know I want a Nass River sockeye or a Skeena River sockeye.
Even the minerals in the Nass water will be different than the ones
slightly. You're talking about different salmons, and here we are in Toronto. We're just lucky if we get fresh salmon. You know, I mean, you're so blessed. It's lucky.
We are lucky to live in. For those of you living in Toronto, great city. But Vancouver is paradise. It's an exciting place to be a chef, and putting the book together that translates through our excitement of what goes on in BC is seen in every page in this book.
No, I did hear a little story about the little lemon here though. That was sort of a fun. Yeah, it was a fun thing. Do tell about the lemon on the cover.
Well, one of my biggest pet peeves. My biggest pet peeve is every fish display in every city, in every town, on every continent has parsley, lemon, and a bunch of stinky fish. So the photos in the book, we took about 2 photos a day.
Yep.
But with this particular one, we struggled with it for a couple of days. You know, because the group of us were the stylists and the lightists and the photographers.
Oh, it's everything but the food, isn't it?
And we couldn't agree on the great shots, so I think more so just to push me over the edge, probably send me just so that I'd quit and go home. I don't know. Harry goes, "Oh, I'm going to do this."
It was after a long time too. We were all just ready to give up on it and just start with something else. And then he took this piece of lemon
and stuck it in,
and there it is.
And it was like, that's the shot. Now
and
the real,
you got the
now the publisher actually picked this, so that was okay. Well, we got the shot we wanted. Little did we know, like a year or so later, the publisher said
years later. This is what 2 years, 2 years later, 3 years later. They picked that as the cover shot.
Well, I don't think people realize. You said you shot 2 photos a day. I mean, people say, well, can't you just take the camera? Like, can't you just shoot it? I mean, and your photography in this book is stunning.
Yeah, we're very pleased.
For you to do 2 a day, I would think that's pretty miraculous when you see what goes into it.
Yeah, well, some was 1 a day. Some was none a day.
Yeah.
That one was almost none a day.
A new appreciation for photography and cookbooks, right?
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, and I understand, before we go though, there is going to be a Rain City
Grow Book.
Rain Tree.
Yes.
My apologies.
No.
Rain City.
An old name. Just come back.
Good. Excellent. So we look forward to that thing.
We're looking forward
to coming back.
But
meantime, this is stunning. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.